I don't think we remember that. Oh, yeah, that's it.
I did. Thank you. Misspelling.
Refreshed.
Yeah, I'm refreshed. More refreshed than the rest of the council.
You hear the little... Okay. So you go ahead and I'll start the time.
Okay. I want to thank you again for allowing us. We're really privileged to have the opportunity to speak today, and also glad to get involved in the past two contracts. Today we're talking about community development. If you notice from the presentation material that you have, that we're seeing the Clark-Patterson Lane. You probably wonder why we did that. We feel that our planning background, as well as their expertise in code enforcement and building inspection, make a really good team together. You can see by the chart, which I had in front of you today, you can see our team. The whole team here is people that are here in Norcross, that are available, employed by the two teams, the Clark-Patterson Lane and on us. So they're ready to go around the ground. Today we're going to have three people speak besides myself. Megan Little, Kevin Gumber, and obviously Jim Somerville. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jim, who's our project manager, and he's going to make the presentation.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, good evening. My name is Jim Somerville. I'm very excited about having the opportunity to come speak to you today about the possibility of being the community development director for the new city of Brookhaven. I think, as Chuck kind of pointed out, I think we present probably a very strong combination of expertise and experience that can get you everything to start running on day one, as you say. And I just want to give a little overview of kind of our experience and capabilities. I've been in planning for about 25 years. I'm a graduate of Georgia Tech. I have a master's degree in city planning. I'm also a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. Right out of grad school, I went to work for another consulting firm where I did master planning. After that, I went to go work for the Gwinnett County Department of Planning and Development. Half of my career has been in public sector, the other half has been as a consultant. I worked my way up through the ranks at Gwinnett County. That's where I met Chuck Button. I started as an entry-level planner and really touched all aspects of the planning department's operation during that time. Everything from, really plan reviews, zoning case reviews, comprehensive planning, even some code enforcement. After that, I was invited to join the JJG planning team, which is now part of Jacobs, by Gary Cornell, who's now the acting director at DeKalb County. I worked for Gary for most of my career. As part of the planning staff at Jacobs, I've had the opportunity, as well as members of our team, to work on a wide variety of planning projects. We've done everything from working on comprehensive plans, rewriting zoning codes, buildable centers initiatives, redevelopment plans, as well as on-call planning services. I'm also a very active member of the Georgia Planning Association. I've presented at many local planning conferences. I'm also a member of the executive board of the GPA, where I currently serve as GPA treasurer. Over the 25 years I've had experience working as a planner, one thing I've learned is all local governments are not alike. They all have their own little nuances. You have your local governments that often run as like a business. They're very customer service oriented. They're very much, they're really bottom line kind of attitude. You have those that are more socially conscious, and they may really serve sort of conduits for state or federal programs that are out there. You have some that are just sort of a laissez-faire. They're very bare bones. All they're really concerned about is local zoning control and what's out there. What drives that and what really moves a local planning department and how it operates is the local leadership. It's you all, as well as the local citizens, and the vision that the citizens come up with for the future. And I think that's what excites me about this opportunity. I mean, this is a chance to start round one, coming up with a new vision for a city, learning from the mistakes and all the successes of other jurisdictions, which we've had a lot of experience working with, and applying that to new situations. I've been fortunate in working in many visioning efforts around the region. I've worked with Gwinnett County. I've worked with the City of Columbus. I've worked with Henry County, Forsyth County, small cities such as Duluth, Snellville, and that sort of thing. And it's always fun bringing the divergent interests together, trying to come up with a consensus, and go forward. I think the real fun part, though, is implementation. Here we're going from not only vision, but applying that going forward. The key thing, of course, for a planning department is going to be your codes. Day one, I know you're now in the process of adopting DeKalb's codes. We're fortunate. We've actually worked quite a bit with DeKalb County. We know their codes very well. We're also currently working on Gwinnett County's rewrite of their code. I also work in Walton County, Rockdale counties. I've done a lot of different jurisdictions. So, trying to apply that and take that experience that we've got and come up with something that, again, reflects your vision for the future. Like, to me, it's a big puzzle. I love doing the puzzle, so it's a great opportunity. One thing I wanted to kind of, need to talk about is sort of the org chart you have in front of you. As you see, we kind of proposed to divide up, or I should say organize the new planning department around 3 main areas. First of all is planning and zoning. The next one would be plan review, permitting, and then building inspections. And the next one after that is code enforcement. For each of those, we have a lead personnel that would take on a sort of main responsibility. One thing that we want to stress is we're talking about efficiencies. Most of the people under each of those organizations will wear many hats. I think it's the best way to kind of run a small department, to also run it effectively and with most efficiency. Now, I would, of course, serve as department lead. Kevin would be the deputy director. We would be constant contact, always trying to figure out what the right level of staffing would be, depending upon the level, what's going on. Megan will would serve as the lead on the planning and zoning area. We put in a proposal, I said, CDBG director, but quite frankly, it all depends. I think that role really you need someone that's going to be carrying more than just that hat. It's going to be doing more like code enforcement, not code enforcement, planning and zoning reviews and that kind of stuff. It's more of a bigger picture thing. Then we've got James Bassett down there showing for the inspections, the permitting, and all that. And then we have Raul Newman showing us code enforcement. Now, both those are Clark Patterson employees. I'm sure you're going to have an opportunity to hear all about them when Clark Patterson comes up next to talk about it. So what I would like to do, though, is give a little opportunity for Megan Will to come up and tell a little bit about sort of planning and zoning, how that would operate. Now, Megan and I have worked together for a number of years, but she recently worked on a LCI for the Stone Mountain Community Improvement District, and so she's had the opportunity to look very closely at DeKalb County's codes. She has a real good idea of where the problems lie. So, Megan?
Thanks, Jim. As Jim mentioned, I've worked with him for, it's been about 7 years now.
Yeah.
At JJG, now Jacobs. I've over a decade of planning experience. My background, actually, undergraduate, is in historic preservation. And it was through that I actually came to planning. My interest in historic preservation was about the sense of place and what makes communities. And as I worked at the National Trust in Washington, D.C., working with some of the leaders in the field there, I realized that, well, when you really want to affect what makes a community, it's planning. It's the long-range planning, and then more specifically, it's getting into the development codes and the zoning and the on-the-ground. And I think that Brookhaven, with the work that you've done in the past with your LCI plan and then with the overlay district, you've established a vision for the heart of Brookhaven, and you've done very well in protecting that vision and moving it forward. And I'm excited about the opportunity to work with you, especially in that area, because the community has been so unified in what they want to see at the heart of Brookhaven, then we need to move out from that center. So as we begin day one with bringing over the DeKalb County codes, obviously the overlay ports over immediately, but then the underlying zoning, what's in there that might need to be tweaked a little bit to better fit where the city is going? And then, again, how do we work out from that center vision that's been established? As Jim mentioned, working most recently with the Stone Mountain CID, one of the things we were tasked with there was the frustration of those property owners and of those developers in working with DeKalb County's codes and their processes. And really digging into those systemic problems and identifying ways that those could be improved and what efficiencies that we could put in place for the county. And we, of course, bring those over here day one. The idea of a priority projects team. So for those major developments, things that, $10 million plus, things that are bringing 50 plus residential units, or it can be job-based, 5, 10 jobs new to the city, making sure they have a dedicated team that's going to look at them and work with them with the developer from day one throughout the process. So again, very excited to have the opportunity to work with the city to help you move forward in establishing and continuing the great vision that you have. Now, Jim?
Yeah, as you see, Megan and I have worked together for a number of years. And one thing I do want to stress is we are a team. We didn't hire anyone just for this project. We're not putting people on work chart. This is a group of people that I know their strengths, I know their weaknesses, I know who to go to in the right situation. I think that's one of our big strong points. Of course, we are teaming with Clark Patterson and Lee and Kevin McCumber's group, and the reason we've done that is they've got experience working with the city of Dunwoody. They've got people on the, as I say, boots on the streets, one way of putting it, but they've got that experience. And I want to give Kevin a little chance to talk about the role of his company and his organization and what they're going to bring to bear to the team.
Thanks, Jim. As Jim said, I'm Kevin McCumber with Clark Patterson Lee. For 25 years, same as Jim, I've been working in local government in a variety of different roles. And the City of Dunwoody is a contract that Clark Patterson has, and has been doing that work for about 4 years now since that startup. And I do think that does uniquely qualify us to be doing this work with Jacobs in this case, because we've been through it before. We know what to expect. It is in DeKalb County. We've built some great relationships at DeKalb County over the last 4 years. Some that would be key to carry over here, so we think that's a big plus. I've been with Clark Patterson Lee for 23 years. It's been a great company, and the team of people that we've presented as part of this proposal are all experts in their field. On the building inspection side, we've got 2 master code professionals. That's the highest level that the International Code Council will give an individual to do inspections work. Those people not only do the building inspections from a structural inspection, but they're certified to do mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural, and lots of special inspections that come up from time to time on projects. Beneath them, we've got a number of support staff that can help them. And we do a lot of cross-training of our people, so that on any given day, if we have work that fluctuates in one direction or another, we're able to shift the focus of those people where the workload is. On the other side of it, code enforcement. For 4 years, we've been doing both a proactive code enforcement program and a reactive code enforcement program. Code enforcement is kind of the term that was in the proposal and what most cities use. We actually like the word code compliance a little bit better, because we try to educate the citizens first, especially in the startup of a new city that really hasn't received a lot of code enforcement. We want to work with them and educate them on what the rules are. So we're not going to walk in, or at least our proposal would be not to walk in and start issuing citations day one. That's a big PR problem, and you'll all get phone calls. So we want to educate the public, give them warnings, ask them to bring things into compliance. And we have found that about 97% of the time, at least in Dunwoody, we've gotten compliance without citations, without taking people to court. That other 3% of the time, you do occasionally get a stubborn person that just can't be brought along, and that does sometimes require a citation. We have employees that are deputized by the court. They go to court, they give testimony on why they were issued a citation, and ultimately attorneys and judges make decisions on what those fines would be, or whatever the situation would be. So that's a little bit about who we are. I think you will hear a little bit more in the next interview, so I'll sit down and turn this back over to Chuck.
Thank you, Kevin. I'd like to say closing, I'd love to come to work for you in this area as well. One thing Kevin put in his proposal that we'd also like to do as an option is to provide all the permit fees, to do that on a percentage basis, which eliminated about $400,000 about our quote, just like in Kevin's proposal. We're a team. Everything he's doing is transparent to us, pricing and all that. So with that, I'll sit down and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today, and look forward to any questions you may have of us.
Can you just explain that a little bit more? The last part about the percentage of the fees.
We would go a 67.5, 32.5 percentage. We would take 67.5, you would take 32 for all the permits. So that basically that portion of your proposal, I mean, it's like 5 and 6 people.
That's right.
Would not be billed to you. We would just go. So if you didn't get permits, we would have less money. If it does really well, we'd have to with a little bit more money. But you would have no cost. You would just have revenue.
And that is different from what is in the proposal?
We did not put that in, but we're transparent. If you look in Kevin's proposal, he did the same thing. I'm just saying we would do the same.
I offered that same option to them.
Yeah.
So that would lower costs off for it.
Make sure we get these questions in.
Sure.
Jim, you want to do that question? You can remember it.
No, it's just a matter of, obviously, as we move into this, our needs and subsequent staffing is going to change. Different needs early on, getting things up and running in a hurry, and getting the more technical stuff going, permits, and then sort of phase into more comprehensive planning and zoning changes and those types of things. Staffing's flexible, and how do you propose getting us set? Of particular interest to me is making sure that we get the local issuing authority up and running, and you have people ready for that, and from a permitting standpoint, and then transitioning into more comprehensive planning.
Absolutely. I was all permitting with Kevin. He's ready. The people there in front of you, they're all employed, ready to go hit the ground immediately.
Well, I think the meat part of this question is, startup. Does that include in your proposal now that we have a startup and might not need as much at first, or we might need more first and less in the later part of the year, or vice versa?
Yes, that's right, G-Max. I mean, we will, I assume with these tax order concept, you might for 2 months want this, and then we'll scale back, and then scale up again. It all depends. And that's what's good about our firm, because 5 miles north of here, we got 300 some people. So we can scale, and they're not even started.
Yeah, at day one, key personnel we identified in the proposals who would show up and really start that initial. And it really is a sort of triage, trying to figure out who else would we need on board, go forward. I think the most important thing to do up front, quite frankly, is just be responsive to the public inquiries. We would treat that right off the bat.
In that vein, what is your philosophy on how you ensure that when it comes to community development, zoning, and whatnot, and permitting, to ensure that you're not inserting your personal opinions or beliefs into what you think is best over what the taxpayers and citizens of Brookhaven think is best?
One thing I've learned as a consultant is to be objective. I've got clients who are both Democrats and those who are Republican. My idea is not to insert my ideas, is to give you options to go forward with that. In fact, it's kind of funny. There's a common joke around planners. You never get a group of planners together and say, where do we go to lunch? Because we'll all go over the options. Then we'll make a decision. So, quite frankly, the important thing is to work with you as council and find out what your interests are. Like I say, to me, the fun part of this is trying to work in crafting that vision up front, trying to find out what is interesting to the community. Because we're here to serve the community. We're not here to push our own agenda.
And what is the first task you would approach in standing up your department, and when can you start?
First task I would see is setting up, quite frankly, would be, again, making sure that we have the right people to respond to any kind of public inquiries that come across the board. The number one thing is make sure we got all the right ordinances in place that are there, because that's what you're going to have to enforce as we go forward. Kevin, do you want to talk about your experience and what you did and done with it and how it equated?
You're already in the process of, and you already have adopted a lot of your ordinances and things. I think right out of the chute, the very first thing we would want to do is sit down with a transition team, some people from our side, some people from your side, and just talk. Communicate about what your goals and visions are so that we can establish some of those early action items.
And when can you start?
Immediately, yeah. Okay.
And then also, we've done some preliminary work. Megan has done some things we already know of, some issues that are already coming up.
Maybe you can ask and have to address the other side.
Well, this is actually unique to this bid. It's just curious to me that Jacobs has partnered with Clark Patterson, and then you're a freestanding bid yourself. So why would I choose this bid when they're going to present themselves here? What are you offering that gives us a value plus here?
My opinion is our planning staff. I'm biased, obviously, but Jim's been with Gwinnett County, ran for 12 years, a major operation, understands it. We have a really strong planning department that's done work all over, basically over the southeast and also a lot of places, as you can see from the chart, all the different locations. So I think that's why, and I knew that we didn't have the expertise to do boots on the ground. And we've been working together for years, and we've teamed on many, many things. I went to Kevin and said, Kevin, would you mind if you guys came to our team? Because I really feel strongly about our planning staff, and with his expertise, that's why I think the value is. Nothing against his planning people.
It also gives you greater depth of resources. Not only you got a resource at Clark Patterson Lee, but you have the resources at Jacobs now, pull from. So, it's a bigger pool of planners and experts.
We have one more minute.
Mayor and Council, we have 1 minute, 15 seconds for questions.
If you have one, just make sure. We didn't ask that with the first one.
Well, anything we don't ask is going to be written for follow-up.
Okay.
So we'll ask this. Can you explain your burden or markup on salaries? There's been a wide range in the different submissions from the bids.
Well, we sat down as a team internally with our organization, and I know Kevin's a little bit lower than ours, and I would suggest that we would match whatever he is doing. But it's because we're trying to be real transparent. But we sat down and we felt that's about where we needed to be to run a profitable company. And I know they range from, in this industry, you can see people at 4.2 is, I mean, insulting, all the way down to 1.5s. But that's where we felt comfortable with ours.
Thank you very much.
J-Max, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, JD, see if there are other